So far, it seems the prices has increased slightly, and just as you can see behind me, the place is empty. So I have the chairman here of the Progressive Onions Association, and I want him to tell us more. All right, Sumaila, so how has the Niger border, the closure of the border, been affecting the onion selling here?
Good morning, viewers. Close of the border has affected us a lot because we bought onions and we've loaded. We have over 75 cars standing on the border, and it has affected our business. Since you can see the market, it is empty, simply because of the coup. So it has affected us a lot.
Okay. And has there been any price increase? Because last week I was in the market and I realized that there was a slight increase, but how has it been today?
Yeah, the price has gone up small because last week we were selling 1,200, 1,150, but now we are selling 1,400 and 1,450.
Okay. And do you have any goods on the way, onion to be precise?
Yeah, yesterday that they've talked to the ambassador and they've opened the border, so some of the cars are on their way coming, but they didn't reach yet. Yeah. And
how much do you think you'd be losing in terms of costs? Because that was last week, and it's been there for long. Yeah. How much do you think you are going to lose as a result of this?
Really, but you know, onions, it's a rotten goose. So unless it comes, but we know by almost we will lose a lot because we know plenty will spoil. And since if it is spoiled, by almost we have to reduce it. We will not get the price that we bought there, and we have to reduce it and sell it. So we will lose a lot. Yeah.
All right. So let me go right to the the vice chairman of the Progressive Onion Sellers Association. Do you think the prices are likely to go up if this continues?
The price is already go up, and now we are selling it. The liter the brand are selling it 1,500. And Benin border last 2 days they opened it small, and the onions come and they have locked it again, and a lot of the cars go in Chuk at Burkina. So about 45 cars are blocked in Burkina about 5 days now. And they said they will do escort up to now. So our life is miserable. All our monies, if you come to the market, your life a graveyard. So it's not easy.
Okay. So personally, when I came here, it looks like the place is very empty. Why is that?
Because of the onion. We are exporting it to Ghana here. And there's no onion. If not, those cars come out. And onions to it. The moment they keep long in the car, there's heat. It will spoil. The moment the onions, tomatoes, we are the same. So they split to Burkina. All the cars go block at Burkina there, and we have nothing to do. They say they will escort there about 6 days now. They say they will escort there every day. The cars are there. The cars are, we are even don't know what to do. And the little they bring to the market, we are selling 1,000, 1,001, 1,200. Now it's 1,005, and it's not even more. It's the local one that they harvest small that they even bring to the market. It's not even plenty, and all the ladies they will guess one people will be fighting on it. So we are appealing to the government to see to Burkina, so that they will open the border and escort the cars to Ghana here for us. If you go there, it's only Ghana cars. There's no car from anywhere. We are pleading to the government.
Now, I'm coming back to you, Sumaila. He was talking about the local onions. Do you think that would be an alternative?
Yeah, the local onions, it is good because if government is to support us, we will do much here. That one too will be helping the country. For example, at Agogo side like this, we have plenty land there whereby we can farm the onions and we can produce more, but due to money circumstance. So if government can help us, so that we too will doing our own.
Just as you heard from the sellers and the main leaders inside the Kotoku onion market right here, the closure of the Niger border is really affecting their business, and they are pleading with government to come to their aid. For JoyNews, Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah.
All right, so welcome back, and let's talk about what's happening in Niger, but focus more on the impact on our nation in terms of our food security. Already, you heard in that video we played that the onion importer speaking to Jacqueline there, that what's happening in Niger has already started taking a bite on us in Ghana. Today, I'm told the price of onion keeps increasing by the minute because they are not able to bring in onions as they used to. But the question is, should we have gotten here to see that there is a need for us to look at alternatives to this, and what is the way out of this? And so today around this table we're looking for solutions, how to deal with the issue about onion importation or making onion available on your table. Now, joining me for this discussion is Enyonam Manye. She's a Ghanaian farmer who is cultivating 45 acres of sweet potato. She's a producer and host of the Ghanaian Farmer TV show on Joy Prime. She's my guest this morning. Enyonam, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Okay.
Just that I'm not happy.
About
the situation.
Okay.
This has been an old story. This has been happening year after year.
Okay.
Shortage of this because there's a problem in this particular country. Price hikes in this commodity because there's a problem in that country. The question is, can't we do it ourselves? We can. Somewhere this year, I hosted some Nigerians who came for agrotourism. And as we were moving, I took them to the western region, we were going to the Volta region, and they kept saying, Madam, Ghana, you people have land, oh. What are you doing with the land? So we have land. We have the farmers. My brother, if you see the number of young people on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on YouTube who DM me every time, and for what you do, we are attracted to go into that space. But we lack the logistics.
Okay.
Logistics such as access to land. Some even have the land, but things as land preparation, the tractor. For me, where I'm producing my sweet potato, the orange flesh, to plow an acre cost me between 400 to 500 cedis for 1 acre.
1 acre.
Now,
and you're doing 45.
Exactly. And the vines for 1 acre, sweet potato vines, for the quality I want for the international market, it cost me 3,500.
For an acre?
For 1 acre. That's minus paying for the land. The land alone also cost me 500 cedis for 1 acre. So multiply times the 45 I'm doing. I'm not saying anybody to go and do sweet potato, but that's how much it's costing around the Sege area. So imagine if you go to another area. We've not talked about fertilizer yet. We've not talked about the pesticide and the weedicide yet. Labor. Each person charge you per an acre. The planting.
You're even getting your land cheap. You said it's 500 acres.
500
cedis.
Yes.
Per acre.
Yes. So the prices varies depending on the community you find yourself.
Because 500 is on the low side.
Good for me.
Exactly. If you
Good
find
for
yourself
me.
in the western region area where I'm quite used to, I mean, you won't get it for 500.
It'll be more than that. I know.
Exactly, yeah.
It'll be more than that. So it depends on the accessibility of the land. It depends on the financial power of the youth. And then it depends on expertise also available. How many commercial farms are even there for young people to go and train, have the practical knowledge before even zooming in? Because, my brother, farming, it goes beyond just putting seed into the soil.
Yeah.
It is a lot of things that goes into
we'll
it.
zoom into the
Of course,
the
we
whole
will.
thing
Yes.
about the onion. But you see, I'm interested in a lot of young people are watching us now, and we've all been talking about how do we get young people to go into farming.
Yeah.
So meeting someone like you is really an interesting thing we need to explore. How are you able to come by the funding? Because listening to the 500, 3,000, a lot of that is a lot of money.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
So I was already producing the Ghanaian farmer,
Okay.
making some income from consulting for people who call from abroad. So mainly my clients are from abroad. Oh, and we've watched this video on YouTube. We want to go into this. Can you help us with consulting? Okay. So I get some small income from there. YouTube itself give you some income from the eyeballs that watch the video on the channel. Then also you get people sending you maybe, I have this commodity, or I have this video about fertilizer, or this thing, post for me. So whilst I was going through the region by region, interviewing and discussing farming related issues with farmers, I kept hearing of each person's budget, how much an acre or 2 acre would cost you. So I was working my way. So the young people who involve me, I tell them, listen, if you're already working, let's say you're a corporate farmer, a corporate worker, and you want to go into farming, you should visit some already existing farming. Ask questions. How much will it cost me to plant an acre of habanero? How much will it cost me to produce an acre of okra, onion, or tomatoes? They will be able, graciously enough, to tell you, this is how much it costs. So you plan towards it. Everything is about planning. Because the truth is that here in Ghana, the governments would not donate money to support young people. I mean, some time ago we heard about fertilizer subsidy. How did it go? If you meet farmers and you talk to them about, did you enjoy this, enjoy that? Subsidy. Some said yes, some said no. So you do not think about or rely on external support. Your own way is find something doing, save, get the necessary checks, researches done on how much you would need. Then that way you can now start. It is easy. I mean, I wanted to do 5 acres. That was my plan, just 5 acres. But because of the credibility I had built, and I always tell young people, if you want to go to somebody to give you loan to do something, there has to be evidences. One of the major reasons why young people are not getting funding to also do farming is that there are no proper record keeping. I have interviewed over 300 farmers, and just a handful will tell you, okay, I've registered my farm. Okay, I have an account created in the name of the farm. So whatever it is, even being 5,000 is what I used as my startup capital. If you go through my record, you see the 5,000 there. So in the absence of this, trust me, nobody will give you funding. And that is the issue between financial institutions and our farmers. Lack of proper record. How do I search for your farm online? If you Google Ghanaian farmer, I am everywhere. How am I going to run away if you give me money? I am there. If you want to visit the farm, I would take you. If you want to see how much I've spent so far ever since we start, everything is on my Excel, on my laptop. So every money I pay to my supplier, it is there. Every time I spend, buy fuel to visit the farm is there. Fertilizer, it is there. Laborers come and I buy kenke and things for them to eat, it is there. So if we're looking for funding, being it international partners, being it from financial institutions or even government, there has to be traces of these things. If not, we would still wait around waiting for money and you won't get it.
So what do you think is our problem? That, as you said, this onion thing is an old developing story. We've not been able to overcome. And today we are confronted with the reality that we need to pay more for a commodity that we could be paying less because someone else is fighting, an internal problem.
So you see, like I was telling you that this story has been from 2017. I'm sure even beyond that, before that, it's been happening. It would interest you to know that in Niger, they produce 1 million metric tons of onions annually. And guess the percentage that Ghana buys from them? Almost 43% of that production is bought by Ghanaians. Now, City FM did a story going about interviewing the traders as to why they always go for these onions instead of helping to sell the domestic ones or the ones produced by our farmers. They said, one, theirs is sweet. It also is not as harsh as in when you're chopping it for cooking. It doesn't enter into your eyes like the Ghanaian one. And also that one is produced on time. I was talking to a farmer when I saw the video that, hey, are you doing rain-fed farming or irrigation? He said, oh, I know I'm doing irrigation. I said, on how many acres? He said, about 3 acres. And I said, how much did it cost you to invest into the irrigation? He said, so even that's the normal one. It cost me about 10,000. How many young farmers or rural farmers can afford 10,000? So it means that when you go to Adan East District, 3 years ago, I was there to celebrate my 1 year and donate some farming equipment. Majority of the things they were asking for is irrigation pump machines. And I asked them why. They said, well, we are blessed to have the water lake, running around our community. So if you give us the pump, we'll be able to connect and do our farming. Listen, I called them a few days ago. Have you started producing? He said, we are now harvesting. But the traders start trading the whole year.
Yeah.
From January up until now, the trader is trading. He needs commodity to sell. But the farmer is now harvesting. How then do you expect the traders to do business with somebody who is relying on rain to produce their commodity? So until stakeholders like government, like private institutions, like anybody who has an interest in agricultural development, we have to consider putting investment into technology, which irrigation is part of this. Until we support farmers to have these basic irrigations on their farm. Listen, we would always wait till somewhere May, June, July when the rains, as I'm talking to you, I'm a rain-fed farmer. I'm waiting for the rains to come to do my first fertilizer. And yesterday, it rained. So I called my farm manager this morning. Hello, Chris. The rains. He said, no, madam. I'm worried. But at least I had some amount of rain in the soil. And of course, I have a little bit of dam. The landowner was gracious enough to have a dam on the land. Okay. So all I need now is to find money and invest into irrigation so that I can irrigate my crops. Do you understand? Do you see the inconvenience that Ghanaian smallholder farmers are going through to produce even the ones you see on the market? So if government is saying that we have interest in farming, farming is the backbone of the economy, farming creates one of the biggest jobs in Ghana, then what are you doing? Is it all about talk shops?
It looks like that's how it's been, because over the years, we say, oh, we'll do this to the agricultural sector, we'll build mechanization systems, we'll build this, but we don't really see it. So, in fact, it's become a talk shop.
That's it.
That's what we do normally. Yeah, the policies will be beautiful on paper.
Of course.
But when it comes to implementation, we have a challenge there. So it means that over the years, we knew the opportunities in there. Because look, we've been growing onions a very long time.
Very long time.
So if we think that people love a certain variety, why don't we develop it or go for it and
that's it.
Yeah.
So one of the things, that's why training. You hear, we are training this farmers, we are training that. But when you go into the market, you get to hear the variety that consumers want from these traders. So how about inviting these farmers from these neighboring countries to come and conduct some form of training to our farmers? This is how we go about our production. This is the variety we are producing. So how about some of you trying few samples and let's see if consumers' taste would change towards that one. If we know what it is that consumers want, what is stakeholders doing about it?
You see, we even have the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority.
Exactly.
Sometimes I really wonder what exactly it is they do. Well, they are doing certain things, but how proactive are they really to look for an area and look at what they could do to support farmers? Because since I started learning agric, I've heard about this rain-fed agriculture. How many years now? So many years.
So many years.
And we're still, faced with this whole challenge about rain-fed agriculture. When we know the impact irrigation can do.
Exactly.
So this Ghana Irrigation Development Authority could even, take it upon themselves as a project. Like where you are, they could come to you and construct a small dam for you or an irrigation system, and then you pay off. After all, every harvest, there's a percentage of the harvest that goes to them.
Farmers are always open for such opportunities.
Yeah. So when you do that, it means if today you are producing, say, 4,500 tons per harvesting, you could do like 90 or even times 3.
Exactly.
And who wouldn't agree to, doubling my output and me having to pay something small to you?
I wonder who will not agree to such an offer.
No. You see, I even read that we had an irrigation coming from the lower, the Pra River towards Commander because of the sugar factory.
Yeah.
Today, if you go there, and I'm sure if you want to trace the lines, we won't find them.
Of course.
Because we're a country that is really, because of our lack of commitment, we've not really been able to say, let's protect some of the things that we do. So the agric sector has a lot of potential. And I read that, like you, a lot of young people should come in and all of that. they need the support of the agencies responsible for agriculture to ensure that they increase their production. Because if today you are producing 4,500 and a help comes in and you're producing 9,000, you know the impact you can.
The impact, I mean, the jobs that will be created,
yes,
resources that people are going to make from it, and then sending it out, and the money that will be coming into Ghana as well. You definitely, at the end of the day, pay some tax at the end of the day. So agriculture, everybody knows the true potential of agriculture. It's not just about the farming. We have those who do the value addition. We have those who do the buying and selling. We have the workers who are there making their own. We have the exporters as well. So the value chain is very huge. And so all I keep saying is that a lot of young people who want to go into agriculture, if you do not have money to start the farming itself, find a space within the value chain and occupy it. Yeah. There are a lot of farmers who have harvested commodities. Trust me, a few days ago on Twitter, and a gentleman inboxed me, I have 5 acres of lady's finger, the very slim and long one. I want to sell. I'm harvesting tomorrow. Can you help me get buyers? And listen, if you're a young person, you want to go into farming, this will not help you. Right from the word go, when you identified what you want to cultivate, when you identified the land, and maybe you are in the process of doing soil testing and doing your budgeting, you should create visibility. Visibility as in create platform, digital platforms, and start advertising. So and so farms produce okra, we produce onion, tomatoes. If you want us to deliver to you, you want us to be your supplier, reach out to us. So please, the farmers who are complaining about, I've come to understand the reason why post-harvest loss has become an issue. Honestly, it should not be a problem. If only farmers would pay attention as to how they will help or find themselves doing marketing. It should not be difficult. I have people who are always reaching out. There are buyers who are looking for the producers. But how do they find you? If you are in Kumasi, or you are in the Volta region, or you are in the central region, and you produce a certain kind of vegetable, and you are not out there, you are not visible, how do they find you to do business with you? If you make yourself visible enough, then selling would not be a challenge. You understand? So there is a lot of solutions out there, but we need everybody to play their role. So for me, before the word go for me to even go and lease my land, I had to meet my off-taker.
Okay. So it means that one thing that we cannot do, for example, these onion guys, they are complaining that they don't have onion, right? A farmer can then go to them, strike a deal and say, I'm going to produce it for you. On a large scale, this amount.
Exactly.
And then you go into, because you know you already have an off-taker.
Yes.
Signed agreement with the onion traders.
That's it.
So you cultivate.
Ask them the variety they want.
Yeah.
So for me to settle on orange flesh sweet potato, I had to ask my off-taker, if you want me to produce for you, which variety do you want? He says, Enyonam, I want orange flesh. That is what my consumers want. So I just didn't assume that everybody eats sweet potato, so I'm going to produce sweet potato. At the end of the day, nobody will buy, or you will not get the expected amount you're looking for. I have another farmer posted on Twitter saying that I have this habanero ready. We've already harvested, but the market women have come around and they are determining the price. Yes, that's how it's going to go. Because right from the word go, even the habanero, we have varieties. We have the small ones and the big ones.
So you should know a variety.
Exactly. Are you selling the ripe one or the green one?
I think it even starts from your customer.
Thank you.
Who are you selling to?
So farming has changed.
When you determine your customer, then you determine the variety or the taste of your customer.
That's it.
And then you cultivate to meet the taste. So very interesting here. But let me bring in Dr. Charles Nyaba. He is the president of the Peasant Farmers Association Ghana. And of course, you'll soon be a member if you're not already.
I know, Doctor. Doctor is my very good friend.
All right. Doc, grateful for you to join us here. What do you think is the real problem confronting us now that, Niger, because of the issue there, we are complaining that it has impacted negatively on the availability of onions in Ghana. What has been really the challenge why we have to be where we are today?
Yeah, good morning, Kojo, and let me say good morning to Enyana, my good friend, Ignewa.
Yes, Doc.
So how do you feel yourself as a Ghanaian who read agriculture those days in basic school, like
Yeah.
Ghana in terms of its richness in natural resources, including agricultural resources. How do you feel if a small country like Niger has crisis and then we'll be sitting here complaining? Okay, so it's something, sometimes I feel so bad about it. I think we shouldn't have even gotten to this point. But it is because we are over-dependent on certain cross commodities, neglecting very important commodities that we all need in our households on daily basis.
Okay.
The focus of agricultural investment in Ghana is where? Cocoa. Recently, cashew. When you check planting for food and jobs, the major investment commodity among all the crops is maize, soybeans, and rice.
Yeah.
All our traditional commodities that are very useful for our household consumption were all ignored. Okay? So it is a reason why today we will sit here crying when Burkina has problem with the tomato supply. When Niger has crisis, we have to also cry. Ghana is well endowed in terms of fertile lands for onions production, in terms of water bodies for onions production. But we've not paid attention to that. When you go to the white water basin around Boko, Polgo, Zebla area, you see fantastic things the women are doing in terms of onions production. You map. Okay? You take the whole of our plain, the lands are very fertile for production of over hundreds of acres of onions production. Last week, I was in a meeting with the onions importers and then those who produce around atomic hill. And they are saying that, look, they don't even want to go there. Majority of them were around Boku area farming. They came to Accra and they are going around atomic land, those areas. But because of certain structural constraints, they have now to start to go into Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso to bring these onions. And according to them, if they are able to negotiate with government, and government is ready to address those problems, we'll be able to meet the demand of the local market. And what are our major constraints? And I was talking about the seeds. The seeds that our farmers rely on, that's the Bokure. It's a low yielding, even though short variety, but it's low yielding. But the pink one that we bring from Niger, Mali, and Burkina, that one is high yielding. But the seeds, you are not able to produce them here. All the seeds, we import them from Niger.
Yeah.
Okay.
A bottle of the seed is going for 250 Ghana cedis. You need about 3 to 5 of that to do 1 acre. Onions is a crop that needs intensive attention.
Yeah.
It has to be intensive. You have to monitor in terms of the pest control, in terms of weed control, in terms of water supply. So most of the farmers who are producing in Ghana are doing less than 1 acre. It's not like they can't do, but they don't have the capacity to do more. So for the last week conversation that I had intensively with them, we all concluded that, look, if we get government support, we'll be able to actually scale up production from 1 acre to 5 acres per farmer. The atomic area we are already doing, they leave the land to us. 1 acre will pay 2,000 for 1 acre to produce onions around atomic area. But even with that, the other constraints that we face, they are not able to get the maximum yield like people are getting in Niger, Egypt, and other places. We are getting around actually 3 to 5 tons, even though MOFA is estimating between 15 to 19 tons. And even with that, Niger are getting 35 tons per acre, per hectare. Egypt, they are making over 40 tons per hectare. And we are doing between 5 tons per hectare. How can we compete? And it's not because our lands are no good, it's just because of those constraints to be able to do the good farming practices that will give us that yield that is lacking. So
Doc, let's take it one after the other. You're talking about the fact that the variety we have is low yielding, and that if we want to have that in Niger, we need to import them. I mean, the seeds. Why haven't our scientists been able to develop that kind of variety that will be suitable to our conditions here and give us the yield? Because today, who is relying on low yielding seeds anyway? Everybody is moving on to improved seed variety. So what is really the challenge in us producing the seeds that we need to give us the desired outcome as is being done in Niger?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, I think our attention hasn't actually been on certain crops. So even though CSI released a number of varieties for maize, rice, tomatoes, but when you come to onions, I doubt if any research is done to improve the variety that we are using. So attention has not been there, and government itself has not actually invested in onions production. But it's one of the high value crops that as a farmer to do it, you make profit. So it's attention and the investment in research to come out with the variety that is high yield.
So as we're discussing this, if we want to overcome the challenge, do we still have to rely on Niger in the meantime? Or we can get, say, UCC or KNUST to look into it and to see if they can give us that sort of seed that we need here?
Yeah, so in a very short term, I think we still have to rely in Niger for the seeds. You know, varietal release usually takes between 3 to 5 years before they will be able to come out with the variety that they want to release. So that will take some time. But in a very short run, once we have the land, our problem has to do with the cost of production, the inputs, and then the water.
Okay.
What government needs to do immediately is to ensure that we get the seed for the farmers. I mean, their farmers are not going to take it for free. All the outgrowers that I deal with, I provide them with the seed, the fertilizers. When they produce, they pay back in kind, and they are very happy with that. So we are looking at getting it to the farmers on credit, and when they produce, they pay back. The other area that we also want to look at quickly has to do with the irrigation system. We are not saying that government should go and start digging dams for onions production. We already have the water body. So when you go there, most of the farmers who can afford are buying water pumps. But those who cannot are using buckets to go and carry the water to go and water their farm. So if you can support these farmers with a small input, okay, small equipment, small water pumps, so that you'll be able to draw the water to their farm, that will help. Our farm plains and Agogo areas are also very good for this onions production. But because we've not supported the same constraints like those in the Upper East are facing, if we can support them with water pumps, irrigation facilities, to be able to draw this water to their farms, it will add on a lot to our agriculture GDP, and that's the area that was not looked at. The other area has to do with the pesticide, the pest control. The pesticides are very expensive for onions, so we need to also look at those areas and pesticides they use to go in there. I think even our extension officers are not paying attention to this crop. So we need to also sensitize them to pay more attention and encourage farmers to go in. They read the aggregators that Enyono was talking about. The aggregators are on the standby. It's an opportunity. I'm encouraging all of them to come in. I will introduce them to the farmers, and I think with a small support, they'll realize that it's not only me that you can make profit from, but you can also make profit from a crop like onion.
I mean, so once we are on irrigation, let me bring in this from the Irrigation Development Authority. It says, currently, there are 22 irrigation projects all over the country constructed by the authority, covering a total of 6,505 hectares. In addition to this, there are 22 schemes constructed under the Small Scale Irrigation Development Project and 6 schemes under the Small Farms Irrigation Project. You mentioned small farms.
Yeah.
Each of these projects is less than 1,000 hectares in size, with the exception of the Tono and Pon irrigation project, which have about 2,500 hectares and overdeveloped. Let me find out from Doc, and then I'll come back to you. So, Doc, these are the numbers that the Irrigation Development Authority is quoting. Are these enough? I mean, in the meantime?
They are not enough. And not to discredit those irrigation facilities you are talking about, some of them are not actually serving the purpose for which they are supposed to. Okay? Some of them are constructed in a place that they are only used for livestock. Some of them are can only be used for domestic purposes. I don't know whether these irrigation numbers you are talking about include the one village, one dam. If they include the one village, one dam dams, those dams, majority of them are not actually serving the purpose. There are many of them who are currently, the farmers are using them to grow rice because there is no water at the reservoir. So, fine, those numbers could be there, but most of them are actually not serving the purpose for which they were constructed.
Well, so it means that the numbers that the irrigation development is putting out there aren't enough. Let me bring in Dr. Kusi. He is with the University of Cape Coast. Dr. Kojo Kusiyama is an agronomist. And look, whatever we're doing, whether you are into food crops or you're into tree crops, you need an agronomist to help you out. Yeah. He is with the Department of Crop Science, University of Cape Coast. That's where I trained. Doc, good morning and great to have you. Doc, you might have to unmute so we can follow what you're telling us. Okay.
Yes, it's already on mute.
Okay, so it's fine. Doc, what are our production capacity, in terms of volumes in Ghana and the yields we do have? Mr. Nyaba is saying that, Niger is able to do is 80 tons and we are doing 25 tons. So there's a huge gap. Let's look at the trends and how we can overcome the challenges.
Right. I might not take you too far from 1960 to 2003. We can do just about some 10 years back. And you realize that production in terms of land size, in terms of per hectare basis has increased. Yes, it has increased. But when you compare it to what is happening in Niger, you realize that we are doing way low. As the other colleague said, that Niger is doing about 60 to 65 sometimes. Now they have been increased to about 80 tons per hectare. We are doing about 18 to 20 tons per hectare. So you realize that the production is on the low side when we compare to where we are importing our onions from, that is Niger. We are not only importing onions from Niger, but the huge sums of them come from Niger. We are also importing from China. We are importing from Netherlands. We are importing from Morocco and Nigeria.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. But so what is our our consumption capacity? How much is it, and how much are we doing in the country, such that we will know the gap, and for people like Kenyanam to know that then there's an opportunity in there that I can tap into. Okay, so we'll go back to Doc later. But if you listen to him there, it means that we're importing from a lot of countries.
Exactly. But Niger is not the only country we produce
which means that there's a huge gap there.
Yes. Even in Togo, recently I was driving to my farm and I had to stop by the women who sell along the road to ask the price of tomatoes. So after I looked at the tomato, it was very hard, very fresh. And I said, oh, so this is from your farm? He said, no. We've not started harvesting yet, so we are now buying this from Togo.
Okay.
Do you understand? So it means that Togo, Niger, even coconut, we get from Abidjan. Côte d'Ivoire.
Coconut?
Oh, we don't have
Abidjan.
Enough coconut. I said we buy from Abidjan.
They should go to my place. I have a lot there.
We buy from Côte d'Ivoire. There's a client in the UK who wants coconuts in Ghana, and the farmers cannot, supply.
Oh, okay.
Because we are underproducing. Yes, we are underproducing. It is the same story everywhere. Even the commercial farmers, they need enough to be able to scale up. Okay? So how about 1 acre, 2 acre farmer? How much? Dr. Naba told you that even the vegetable, they do about 1/4 acre or 1/2 acre. Because for the farmer, the seed, the quality of seed they need is one factor. It's very expensive. If you want quality seed, that the shelf life of the commodity will last long, then you have to invest into hybrid seed. And hybrid seed are expensive. The local seed, when you harvest, in a day, 2, 3, 5 days maximum, it starts, losing its quality. And so a lot of people do not want to spend so much on seed or let's say commodities that will not stay so long. Do you understand? So our production is one problem because of the logistical or infrastructure challenge that we have already. All right? And so moving forward, like Dr. Naba is saying, we need a lot more to be done. Yes, there might be, you were quoting some figures from the irrigation people and all that. But these things have to be done strategically. I know vegetables run through the whole country. So long as you have water and a few things, you can do vegetable. But let's look at the hubs of vegetables, where the vegetables are producing, where they are producing in huge volumes. How can we support them? So if you have irrigation at certain places that vegetable farmers are not there, how do they benefit? Let's be strategic in terms of the infrastructure sharing so that everybody can benefit. It's not about politics, or let's say this is where we get our huge volumes of vote from, so let's go and put it there when people are not there to benefit. Do you understand? There are a lot of people who have the interest to scale up their production, but it goes beyond just the interest. You need to buy quality seed. And he said pest issues. Our agronomists who go around helping farmers, they are doing their bit. But knowledge-wise, are their capacity being built to that level? There was a farmer who called me from somewhere in the western region and sent me images of his tomato, saying, Anyonam, my tomato is turning this color. I've called the agronomist, or I've called somebody to come and help me, but they are not coming. What do I do? Imagine such a farmer. At the end of the day, if he doesn't get help on time, he end up, getting frustrated and saying, you know what, this thing I'm not doing again. So first of all, we have inadequate extension officers in this country. It's been a long story. It's like just the importation. We've talked about it. There are some of them who have graduated and are even home. They are not being posted, just like the nurses who are running away to abroad to go and work.
So
they are exactly. An extension officer called me recently and said, is that where you can help me to travel outside the country? Yes, I want to go and further my education and work as well. I watched a video recently on DW, seeing young people who are working on certain plantations and come and see the trouble they are going through. So for the challenges in the agri sector,
a lot.
It is a lot. But we need the country, or we need the sector, the ministry to see that. Look, when you go to, let me use just Rwanda here, because I've been there. When you see the connection between young farmers, the ministry, they even have a wing for just young people who are going into farming. And the international partner, I always say the international partners who are here in this country, they are helping, but are they channeling the resources into certain sectors?
You mean the right sectors?
Thank you very much. Yes.
Let me bring in Dr. Kwesi. He's back on Zoom. Doc, I wanted you to look at the, our onion consumption versus our production.
Right. You realize that in our meals as Ghanaians, we can never do without onions. So every day, about 3 times or 2 times a day, we need to use onions in 200 tons compared to what we are producing around 150,000 metric tons. So we need about
well, it looks like Doc's line doesn't work.
There's a challenge with the network.
Exactly. But I heard him say we need like 200,000 tons.
Yeah.
And then we are producing
less than that. So like I'm telling you, there are a lot of interest. But these key challenges, these resources, there are programs that are being run. Yes, so young people can know, okay, which proposal do I write? Which institution is supporting what? For World Food Program.
So if I understand you, it's the right targeting we're not doing.
Exactly.
With the initiative.
Yes.
It's the right targeting.
If you bring an initiative as the ministry, let's say ministry bring an initiative, and you don't target, you don't group it. Okay, let's do grouping. This line of young people are into this, these people are into this, these people are into this. How then do we judicially use the resources that you are channeling out? All
right, thank you. Dr. Kwesi is back. Doc, your line is really trying to, is dealing with you this morning. But let us know. I heard you mention some 200,000 as in our demand, and then you mentioned another figure as our capacity. Let's hear them again.
Yeah, what I was saying is that our consumption is way huge than
the production.
50,000 metric tons in terms of our consumption, but we are producing only about 150,000.
Okay, we'll raise Doc on phone so we can have a good conversation. But Sumala Idi is chairman of Progressive Onion Sellers.
Okay.
So he can help us really get into what the real issues are. Sumala, grateful for joining us here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. So why are you not able to get all of these, the quantity you need from Ghana?
Good morning, listeners and viewers. I'm speaking from Niger Coup Market, chairman of Progressive. Yeah, it is. You see, it is because of the coup that we didn't get all the goods that we need.
No.
Hello?
No, I want to understand why you don't look within Ghana to get your produce, but you always want to look outside to get them.
Simple because, here we don't have vast land whereby we used to do the farming.
Are you sure we don't have the land?
We have, but it is season by season.
Okay.
Unless after it's like this, we do the farming, and this time too, we do it at Square, Agogo, at Farm Place, at Jama, and that's it. Yeah.
Okay. So if I understand it, your challenge is that in Ghana, ours is seasonal, but you want an all year round production.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. So it means that.
So you see.
So the challenge, as we've been discussing,
they cannot wait for you till you are harvesting before they will do their trading.
Okay, so it is not an issue of the variety you need. It is an issue of whether you can have the produce all year round.
Come again?
So for you, it is not an issue of the variety. It is whether you can have the produce in Ghana all year round, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then that's irrigation and all of the issues we've spoken about. So if you get that opportunity to get all of what you need in Ghana throughout the year, you won't travel to anywhere to import onion, right?
No, we will not travel.
Oh.
If we can get the resources to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But have farmers approached you about being able to cultivate it for you in Ghana, and whether you can be able to be of help to them?
Yeah, if only government can help, we'll get people to do it.
You should ask.
Government can help in what kind of help are you looking forward to from government?
It seems government has even started one village, one dam.
Okay.
If they were able to get limited dams for areas whereby they can do the farming, it will help better. And irrigation too.
Okay. All right, you. Chairman, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. So let me bring in Dr. Nyaba. So you heard him there. The issue is that if they get all of the produce in Ghana, they will go for it. They won't go to Niger or wherever to import onion. So now we know that there's a solution coming in. If we can be able to grow the onion here, we'll do it. Where do we start from?
So, Kojo, I don't know your program for tomorrow. Tomorrow, all the onion farmers and irrigators ourselves will be having a meeting in Accra around Theatre House. we are going to deliberate on some of these issues to see how we'll be able to scale up the production.
Okay.
I'm sure the ministry will also be there. We want to quickly come out with a strategy to increase our production. We think that for me, as a farmer and at the same time, agri-business person and an investor, I see this as an opportunity. We just need to increase investment because demand is there. And for farmers, anytime there is demand, they move from the commodities that have difficulties to sell to those commodities that they can easily get market. So now that these opportunities created, we are coming in and we are also inviting others to come. So where we are starting, just like you asked, is first to come together, identify those areas. We have already identified, and just like you mentioned, Abugo is one of the areas that we've identified. Apparently, is one of the areas. Upper East, along the White Water Basin, is one of the areas. The major challenge, when we had our parents meeting last week, I think because of the communication issue, marathon artificial face.
Hello, Dr. Yaba. Hello, Dr. Yaba. Okay. All right. So I'm told Dr. Kusi Amwa is back on phone.
Yeah, hello.
Okay, Doc. So now we know the onion sellers are telling us that if they can have the produce in Ghana all year round, they will buy in Ghana, they won't travel anywhere to import it. So we know that at least they have told us what they want. How do we take it from where we are now?
Okay.
But so, if you can again give us the yield again, I mean our capacity and what we need, and then you both on to the question, I'll be happy.
Okay, all right. So I was saying that the consumption is about 250,000 metric tons, but we are producing only about 150,000. So we need about 100,000 metric tons to fill this gap.
Okay.
And how do we do that? We need to find out what Nigeria, and other countries in in Africa are doing. For example, Egypt is able to do about 60 tons per hectare. But we are only doing about 18 to 20. Okay. So what are they doing that we are not doing agronomically? Number one, are we thinking about irrigating our crops? If we say we are doing all year round, do we have the capacity to do so? If the little land we have, we are not doing things that we are supposed to do, we cannot get the onions all year round. For example, there are some varieties Nigeria is using that we are not using. So we need to sit up and say, okay, from the input to the post-harvest handling, what do we need to do? It is not just like we need all year round production. What exactly we are going to put in the production is very, very, very critical. So, for example, let me just bring in another commodity. We are importing tomato from Burkina Faso. Yeah. What is Burkina Faso doing that we cannot do? Is it the seeds, the varieties? Is it the spacing? Is it that they are irrigating? So there are so many issues that we need to look at. I believe strongly that if we improve our agronomic practices, with the little land or the space we are even doing now, we can do more. Let me give you an example. Nigeria is the highest producer of yam in Africa, even in the world.
Okay, all right.
But Ghana is having the highest yield in terms of yam. But the land size we are doing is lower than Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you look at all these dynamics, we need to look at it from the agronomic point of view. How can we do? Or what are they doing that we are not doing?
Okay. All right. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining us this morning.
So you see, it's a 360 affair. It's not just from just one angle.
Okay.
Doctor is talking from the angle of agronomists. So we need more of them. And even the old ones that are there, they need capacity building training.
Okay.
They need to know what is the latest thing happening when it comes to agronomy-wise.
Okay.
There are a lot of issues with climate now. How educated, abreast are our Greek officers with issues of climate?
Okay.
So the matter is a big matter.
It's a really big matter. And I think that we need to have a round two discussion.
Of course.
I'm grateful to you for joining us.
You're most welcome.
is the Ghanaian farmer herself, and she's the producer and host of the Ghanaian Farmer TV show on Joy Prime.